For decades, border enforcement operated at human speed. A physical checkpoint, a paper document, and a visual inspection were the primary tools used to process the daily flow of traffic. But as global travel scaled, the U.S. border required a computational foundation. TECS was built on heavy iron, a rigid, vertical architecture powered by a COBOL transaction engine and a VSAM identity store. That legacy mainframe was designed to execute one specific task flawlessly. When a passport is scanned, the mainframe reaches into the VSAM store and instantly verifies the traveler's exact name and identity number. The system provides a perfect answer to the question of who a traveler is. Yet, because a mainframe organizes data in flat, rigid files, it cannot track where that person has been over the last 5 years, creating a massive vulnerability. To understand why that missing context is a problem, look at the sheer volume of a modern airport terminal. Verifying a static identity does nothing to catch a traveler making rapid, multi-country fops or executing a smuggling loop. Those threats are temporal. They hide in the patterns of movement between flights, not in the name printed on a passport. Catching those specific behaviors requires cross-referencing 5-year rolling entry and exit logs, real-time carrier manifests, and complex airline passenger data. A vertical mainframe architecture cannot physically hold or sift through that level of big data. To handle the volume, the U.S. border system evolved a second brain. Behind the scenes, TECS runs an Oracle RAC cluster. This is the horizontal counterpart to the legacy mainframe, engineered specifically to handle movement. Every single day, this cluster ingests tens of millions of database writes. It absorbs real-time manifest data from incoming flights before they even land. Because the Oracle architecture scales horizontally across multiple servers, it can hold billions of rows of travel history and keep those aggregates ready for instant analytics. Adding this cluster upgraded TSACs from a simple identity ledger into a vast temporal data lake. To manage the crushing processing load of billions of flight logs, TSACs uses database partitioning. The Oracle layer cleanly fractures data by dates, subdivides by exact ports of entry, and applies bitmap indexes to quickly isolate specific risk flags. If a border officer needs to know if a traveler has entered the U.S. through high-risk airports within the last 24 months, the system doesn't scan everything. It pulls only the exact blocks of data required. This architecture turns data organization into a weaponized search method, enabling TSACs to sift through years of historical big data and return an actionable answer in under 200 milliseconds. The Oracle layer takes those sub-second queries and uses them to construct a travel graph, a literal reconstruction of a traveler's historical path across the globe. It builds this map using specialized analytical database features, running window functions and temporal joins to connect isolated passport scans into a continuous sequence. Once the timeline is connected, distinct human behaviors emerge. The system can immediately detect suspicious travel loops, flag rapid hops between specific countries, and isolate human trafficking indicators. These behavioral signals are entirely invisible to the COBOL transaction engine. Tracking movement is just as critical to national security as verifying identity. But the modern Oracle cluster did not replace the legacy mainframe. In practice, the two distinct architectures are permanently hot-linked. The entire multi-system orchestration is triggered by a single physical action, a passport scan at a border booth. Instantly, the mainframe verifies identity, while a cache checks active watch lists. Simultaneously, the Oracle cluster queries billions of rows to reconstruct the traveler's 5-year history. Finally, a risk engine evaluates the identity against behavioral data, generating a definitive signal for the border officer. The division of labor is strict. The mainframe handles identity, and the Oracle cluster handles movement. The risk engine acts as the structural bridge, fusing the static ledger with the temporal travel graph. By forcing decades-old heavy iron to collaborate seamlessly with horizontal big data clusters, the U.S. has built a unified border brain, processing a traveler's entire history in under a single second.